And here is Mackenzie Hughes, fresh off a visit from South Africa. We were just chatting the fact that you got over your jet lag pretty easily, and you're kind of used to it when you have kids anyway. But,
Yeah.
as the year is sort of coming to a close, how would you sum up 2024 for you?
Yeah, it's I'm not even sure I've had time to really reflect on that quite yet. Feel like I just kind of got finished with my season, and it went a bit later than it has in the past with playing last week. But yeah, I feel like I've done a lot of great things this year. I've had some great weeks, some really exciting moments. Being in the mix on Sunday at Hamilton this year, the President's Cup, having a few other chances to win. So in that sense, it's been very fun and been exciting. But on the flip side, we didn't win the President's Cup. I didn't win a tournament this year, so there's been some things I'm also disappointed with as well. Um, but if I look at my overall game, I feel like my game got better this year. I saw some things that were encouraging as I go forward into 25. So overall, I would give it a pretty good grade, but there was a few things missing for sure.
Pretty consistent, 51st on the FedEx Cup last year, 52nd this year. And I know that those two spots do make a difference for you. How much will that change what you do and where you play next season? Hopefully not a lot, I guess, if you can keep going with the signature events. You're in the first few, I think, right?
Yeah, so I don't get Maui, but I guess Pebble and then Riviera. So, those are going to be important starts for me. And I guess really the West Coast will be important for me because that'll be kind of how I set myself up for the rest of the year. If I get off to a strong start, I can pretty much play my way into all those tournaments. So that's kind of the goal right now. But yeah, there's a little more uncertainty this year with my schedule, and I don't know exactly how it looks sitting here in December, but that's kind of the way it is now. I mean, I'm going to have to be a little bit more fluid with how I plan things, and if I start to play my way into some of those bigger tournaments in the summer, then I'll adjust accordingly. But right now, I'm kind of planning just for the first quarter of the year essentially, and then kind of going to reassess once I get through the West Coast and kind of get through Florida and kind of see where we're at. But it'll be pretty similar to this year, I think. And then yeah, like I said, hopefully I put my way into a few more of those big tournaments and some of the majors.
Let's look back a little bit at last year, and you mentioned the RBC Canadian Open. And I remember watching you walk off the 18th green on Sunday. Um, you looked devastated. You ended up finishing T7, I know, but that was, I think you told me afterwards, that was sort of like a great opportunity missed. Is that how it felt when you look back at it now?
Yeah, that one is probably the one that hurts the most from this year. Obviously winning the Canadian Open at any venue across the country would be incredibly special. But to have done it there, 10 minutes from where I grew up, yeah, that would have been yeah, the stuff of fairy tales. And looking back on it, I think something I've notoriously been not very good at throughout my career is just, you know, you, there are times when I've wanted things too badly that that becomes a bit of a hindrance, and I think that's one of those weeks where I felt like on Sunday I felt like I kind of had one hand on it for a moment there, and I think that again I wanted that one so badly that I couldn't quite let myself play the way I needed to play on that that closing stretch, and that was tough to take. I mean, yeah, like I said, I wanted that one really badly, and like I said, I've had a nice year, but when I look back at a few of those moments, there's some in particular that sting pretty good.
I guess one of the good moments was getting that call from Mike Weir. Were you to get on the President's Cup team? When you look at that back, when you look back at that now, were you prior to it, were you anticipating getting the call? Did you think you have a good chance? Because I think I remember talking to you in Memphis, and I don't think you were quite as optimistic as maybe some of the rest of us were.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I certainly left there in Memphis thinking that, yeah, I think it was a lot of disappointment in the fact that I hadn't made Mike's job easier, in the sense that, like, if I had made a run, up into Atlanta and made the East Leg, I think that would have made it much more reassuring. But yeah, not advancing and then having to sit there for a couple of weeks and wait for that call, that was tough. But I also, in the back of my mind, I really did feel like I had a decent shot at it, but I also tried to keep my expectations in check and say, look, it's probably 50-50 at this point. I could get the call, but at the same time, I was fully expecting to get the other call as well. So that was really tough. And obviously, like you said, getting that call was probably one of the highlights of my career.
Let's just dive in very briefly into the President's Cup, and I have to ask you if what the mood was like when you first started out, because it seemed this time I've covered a bunch of them, and this time it seemed like you guys were really sort of sensing the fact that this could be the year you finally break that drought.
Yeah, I think part of it was just due to the fact that we've got so many like new fresh faces playing, and I think that like Scotty's played 11 Presidents Cups, and I think that you know it probably wears on you quite a bit after that kind of that amount of time not winning. But for myself, for Corey and Taylor, like that was their second. This was my first. I mean, to me, it was like, why not? Why can't we beat these guys? And so I think, yeah, there was quite a bit of optimism on the team, and with the captains that we had put together, a nice team to potentially do this thing. And then you get your kind of get punched in the gut right there on Thursday and go down 0-5, and you're like, oh, maybe not, maybe not this year. But then to come back Friday like we did, and that was my first day playing. I think there's never been a day on the golf course where I've been so up and so emotionally charged. It was just like the single greatest day I've had on the golf course in my career. And unfortunately, we couldn't kind of keep that momentum going. But like I said, it was the greatest week I've had on the golf course, and something I'm desperately wanting to do again, hopefully in Chicago. So, and I know the narrative is, we definitely need to win one here soon. And, um, looking back on the year, I do feel like that's a big disappointment for me, and that we didn't get it done for Mike because, yeah, he put faith in me on the team, and there was a couple moments there where I felt like I could have been just a tiny bit better. There's a few shots that I look back on that could have really turned the tide of that week. So, but that's how it goes. I know there have been many guys that in their first one they've had things they want to do better, or shots they'd like to have back. That's a pretty common thing to have happen. But yeah, the whole week as a whole was really positive, and something I'll remember for a long time.
Were you surprised that you played 36 holes on Saturday? I mean, and were you more surprised at the fact that you played four ball or that you played 36?
I think so. I think if you had asked me Saturday morning, I would have been more surprised that I played four ball, and if you asked me Saturday afternoon, I would have been more surprised that I played 36 because um, Corey and I did not play well Saturday morning and were put right back out. Um, but I think if you asked me again Saturday morning, I would have been surprised that I was going back out, because I think in the talks with some of the captains, and talking with the stats people that are working with our team, um, I was pretty much there to play with Corey and alternate shot. I mean, Corey and I were an exceptional team on the alternate shot side. Even the match that we lost on Saturday afternoon, I think we would have beat just about anybody else playing that day. I think we were 4 under alternate shot, and played quite well. And unfortunately, bogeyed the last hole, but I think, yeah, looking back on it, the Saturday morning was probably a little bit more surprising because I didn't expect to be playing Saturday in the four ball, and then I think coming off such an emotional high from Friday afternoon. Like it was such a quick turnaround to get mentally prepared for Saturday. Um, and then, like you said, like Saturday morning, we kind of got beat up a little bit, and Corey and I didn't play great. And then, I remember being in the line at lunch in our cabin, and Trevor coming up to Corey and I, basically saying, "Hey, do you guys want to go again? Like, do you guys feel like you're up for it?" And that was a tough one to answer because I really felt like, on one hand, I wanted to play, but on the other hand, I was like, do I need to hand off the reins to somebody else right now? And um, so we ultimately decided that we wanted to go play. And again, that's one of those things I look back on. I wish I just had been able to deliver that point, because Corey and I played well enough to win that match Saturday afternoon, and we win that match, it changes kind of the course of Sunday and then in that week. So I mean, I look back on, I had a putt on 17 to go one up, and then I hit a bad chip on 18 where normally I tend to thrive. So
Right.
that was just yeah, that was a tough one, and I still wake up at night thinking about that times, and it's gonna hopefully drive me to be on that team next time and then have some redemption.
Uh, at least was there a good party afterwards?
There was definitely a good party afterwards, and I think I've made quite a few new friends on that team, and some new friendships I didn't have before, and yeah, that part of it, the camaraderie and the teammates that you now call friends. I think that's a huge part of that week as well, and again, just playing with something bigger than yourself, having teammates you play for, wives you play for, caddies, all that. It's just so unlike anything we do week to week on the PGA Tour, and I just had such an incredible time the entire week. It was a very busy and exhausting week, but one that I sign up to do every year.
Let's just look ahead before we sign off here. Look ahead to 2025, and a couple of quick questions. One, do you like the fact that the RBC Canadian Open is back the week before the US Open? Do you think that'll be helping it or hurting it, or at least not hurting it?
Yeah, I don't know whether to say it helps or hurts. Unfortunately, I just think of the spot that it's sandwiched into. The field pretty much remains the same. I think might attract one or two more stars in the sense that there are a number of guys that enjoy playing the week prior to a major. So I do think that in that sense, it's a positive that you might potentially attract. Like I even think like Rory, enjoys coming to Canada, but he also enjoys playing the week before a major. So I think that like a guy like that's going to play, um, and that's a positive. So I think more positive than negative for sure. And I'm hopeful that TPC Toronto can kind of maintain the momentum that they've kind of grown in the last 3, 4 Canadian Opens.
If we're talking a year from now, do you think there's going to be some resolution to the Live PIF? You're rolling your eyes already. Do you think there'll be a resolution to it a year
Uh,
from
I certainly hope so. It's exhausting just to even just to think about and talk about, and I'm not even in the meetings. And it's crazy to think that this was dropped on us in the summer of 23, and we're here at the end of 24, and it's still not even close to being resolved. And um, the deadline was last December. So my optimism for it is is quite low. And I really don't know what the end goal is or what the objective is there. But yeah, I'd like to think so, but I have as much clue as you do. Actually, I probably have less of an idea than you do. So hopefully it's I don't get close, but really have no idea. Nor do I really spend too much time trying to get too involved in it, because like I said, I have no impact or say over what happens. So trying to kind of just do my own thing, and when it gets resolved, it gets resolved.
If I could give you a magic wand and enhance one part of your game for next season, what would it be?
Uh, I'd say the biggest factor in my performance would probably be off the tee, and that's probably the one area that I'd say if I'm driving the ball well, the rest of the game will come quite a bit easier to me. And I actually, this past week I had a great week in down the Ned Bank on a course that was very demanding off the tee and drove the ball quite well. I think I was ranked quite highly in the field for driving, and yeah, I'm starting to see some things in my game that tell me that those things are going in the right direction, and I'm encouraged. I think I'm working on the right things. I know that if I can just get my driving and approach play sort of to a point where like I'm not losing strokes to the field, I'm not gaining, but if I'm just not losing strokes to the field, and my short game stays at a high level, then I'm going to have a lot of chances to win tournaments. So there's some what I think is encouraging is there's lots of opportunity there for me. Yeah, if you took someone that was very good in all four of the major categories, it'd be hard to say, well, you make some real big improvements if you're already very good in those categories. I think I've got some room to grow, and that's exciting. I look at it more of as an opportunity than a burden. So I'm excited for 25. I think my best golf is still ahead of me, and my goals are still quite high.
Hughes clan is going to have a big Christmas. You're heading north, I understand, maybe for a little bit of a taste of the cold.
Yeah, I'll be up north for about a week between upstate New York, where my wife is from, and Canada for 3 or 4 days after Christmas. So we'll get a taste of the cold and the snow, and let the kids build a few snowmans, hopefully, and be back down to the south. So looking forward to seeing some family and putting the clubs down for a while and getting ready for 25.
Well, all the best to you, Jenna, and the kids, and wish you all the best for 2025 on the golf course as well, Mac.
All right, thanks, Bob. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.